drawing towards me. Oh, the cop. I think the cop's turning left, so I'll turn it back on in a quick second. But I wanted to get a chance to maybe talk about one of the sort of most important things that I had to learn in my 14-year journey in this company. And what I'm going to teach you tonight, I didn't really learn it through a training in my first two companies that I was, sort of green as grass going through. I kind of learned it officially in this company. And so the things that I thought I was kind of doing right, I guess innately, sort of, I guess just by sort of common sense kind of thing, I actually learned this training direct from our company CEO and, of course, SVP Sanatuma and our wonderful CEO, of course, Mr. Rami Misgalu. And that training tonight is really all about this thing that we call like and trust. And I feel, of course, that sometimes we kind of say it as if people just should know what it means. Like, hey, you got to build like and trust. You got to build like and trust. And maybe for some people, it's like, well, what does that really mean, like and trust? And if you're on the call tonight and you're kind of wondering, well, what really encompasses like and trust? Say I, or yeah, I, me. And let me know if I should even talk about this topic or not. Maybe everyone here understands really what like and trust means and how, really how to build it properly. And we don't have to train that, but I think a lot of people, maybe I can maybe even just add a few key things. And so tonight's training, I want to focus on. I see a lot of eyes, and thank you so much for your feedback. Yeah, a lot of people, I hope will actually appreciate this training. So if you have a paper and pen, please get it out handy. Not so much so that you can refer back to it, but more because I find when you write things down, it actually sticks a lot better. And my first, even till now, when I'm at a training and a speaker says something that really resonates with me, I write it down, and it kind of sticks with you over a long a long period of time. And definitely my first 10 years of boot camp, I had pages and pages of notes, just like everyone did this past boot camp, of course, in Toronto. So if you write this down, that pretty much, I'd say over 2/3 of your success, if not like 80-90% of your success in this business, whether you define success as selling products or launching new partners, really 80-90% of that success comes down to what we call like and trust. It comes down to like and trust. So definitely more than 2/3 of your success relies upon this. And yet, I oftentimes see a lot of people sort of skipping this step of building like and trust and kind of, diving right in to going for the sale, asking for the close. And mind you, I'm not saying that it's not important to ask for the close. That's another aspect of the business that some people are a bit shy to do. And of course, we must always ask in some polite way for the close. But definitely, I find a lot of people don't spend perhaps enough time building that like and trust. And so, what we're trying to say here is that, if you write this down, in order for someone to buy from me, so in order for someone to buy from me, whatever it is that I'm selling, okay, they have to buy me first. I think that quote sums it up in all that what we're trying to focus on tonight is that for someone to buy something from me, they have to buy me first. And maybe, look back at all the times that you had tried to perhaps sell the product or promote the product or ask. I want you to ask yourself a question. Did I really spend enough time building that like and trust to do whatever I can to make that person like me? Right? I do see people with their generous comments to pull over. I'm almost actually back home, and in fact, I do a lot. I have my hands free, my hands on the wheel, and of course, I'm pretty good at this. So I appreciate your concern, but I'm almost home. Thank you so much for that. And of course, so again, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here, that people really have to buy you first. And think about the times, did you perhaps rush into a close? Now, one question I always get was, well, Rene, how do you know how much time to spend in building this like and trust? Okay, if you have that question, say I. So if you're wondering, well, Renee, okay, you're telling me I gotta spend more time to maybe build this relationship up, try to have them like me, and now you're wondering, well, how much time should I spend? Like, do I talk for half an hour to make them like me? Do I talk for 30 seconds? Do I talk for 5 minutes? Do you have that question? Say I, right? So I find it's a really common question that I get too. And again, I'm only teaching you things from my own experience, all right? So I never teach someone things that I personally never found as helpful for myself. So there's definitely things that I have learned, and I want to pass it on to you. So I see a lot of your feedback. Thank you again for your. I think when you engage with me, you get a lot more out of this training as well too, right? So maybe because I'm a programmer and everything I do is sort of I'm trying to figure out the steps. Right? I'm really like step by step kind of person. I want to know. Okay, when I meet someone, what's the first thing I do? Okay, I smile, right? Then I say hi. That's step two. Then step three, I say, nice to meet you. I really want to break it down step by step because that's how my brain works, right? And so it comes down to this. What I realized was that you're gonna have where you only have so much time to speak to someone, and you'll have other scenarios where, and for example, that could be you're going to a drive-through, you're in a mall, and you're at a checkout counter, you're at a grocery store, and maybe there's someone beside you. Um, so that's like scenarios where you have very little time, right? You only have maybe like a minute to talk to these people. All right, does that make sense? So in my mind, there's two scenarios. One is when you have very little time to talk to that person, and the other scenario is when you have more time, and that could be, for example, you're at a barbecue, you're at a friend's gathering, someone came to your house to service your internet or your telephone line. Well, maybe telephone line back in my days, but maybe it's almost cell phones nowadays. Maybe your internet line, your cable. Maybe you're at some kid's birthday party. Maybe you're in a lineup at your kid's school picking up your kids. Maybe the babysitter came over. These are scenarios where you have more time. I guess what I'm trying to say is the first scenario, you might not see them again, all right? And the second scenario is you'll like you have a lot more time. And it comes down to, so in my mind, maybe because the way I work, I'm trying to sort when I meet someone, how much time I have. So if I'm with Heidi and my wife, and we're at the shopping mall, and she's in a shopping store, like maybe buying some clothes. Okay, in my mind, I'm thinking, do I have little time or do I have a lot of time? So maybe the customer service person is really busy, and okay, I probably don't have much time. Or maybe the customer service person is bored out of their mind, right? And I know they have a lot of time. Oh, by the way, if you ever want to hear a funny story, Heidi knows that like wherever I go, doesn't matter if I'm buying groceries with her or if I'm in a shopping mall, I'm just getting a coffee from Starbucks or wherever it might be. She knows that I always try to talk to everyone, and sometimes she knows it's coming, right? Because when she hears me saying to someone, "Hey, how's it going? How are you doing? Nice weather today." Sometimes, she actually runs away from me because Heidi is much more of a very like shy person, and she's not social like I am. And for me, I talk to everyone. Sometimes when she hears me starting my approach, I guess she gets a little bit shy. She actually runs off. I'm like, where did Heidi go? Where did Heidi go? Right? It's a funny thing that we have between us, and it's kind of become a joke now. So far, you get to my point, right? You have little time, less time. So whenever I'm in a scenario where I don't have much time, pretty much I just try to smile, say, hi, how's it going? How's your day today? And it was so funny. I was at the point of not knowing what to say that I literally had to write down questions I would ask someone brand new. Like I would literally have to write down, okay, how's your day today? Where are you from? What brought you to Canada? Do you have family here? These are the common questions to build like and trust. And I literally had to write them down because sometimes in a moment, I wouldn't remember what to say. So by writing down these questions and repeating it often enough, even today when I meet someone, I naturally think about the same questions I was taught to ask like 14 years ago. So maybe you don't have that problem. Maybe you're, Mr. and Mrs. Suave. But for me, I wasn't like that. I really had to break it down for myself. And so, yeah, basically, I got into the habit of really, asking these questions. And Rebecca's right. It's called form. And to build like and trust, I think the easiest way to break down what is building like and trust is just simply asking questions to try to get the person to engage with you and to like you more, Because let me ask you a question, right? If someone does not like you, will they buy from you? We kind of talked about this before, right? So what's your answer, guys? If someone doesn't like you, okay, if someone doesn't like you,
no matter how good your products are, no matter, how many lives you can save with this product, again, we can't make any kind of claims, right? But even if it could do all these crazy things, even if they needed it to save their life, I'm just using a very exaggerated example to prove a point, even if they could use this and then, suddenly their skin's all healed, would they buy from you if they don't like you? And then, of course, everyone's answer is absolutely correct. The answer is no, they will absolutely not buy from you. And why is that? Well, you can't have ego. You can't have your ego like you got this stuff, so you should buy. No, they can buy from anyone else. There's other people they can buy this from, right? And so really our job in this business is to build impeccable like and trust with our people. And it's not always easy. Sometimes I meet people and no matter what I do and how much I try to smile, maybe I over smile, I look kind of freaky. I don't know. I don't think I am. But sometimes they just don't like me no matter what I do. There are the situations where, as nice of a smile I try to make and be as genuine as possible because we'll talk about that next. What's my mindset in going out and talking to these people? No matter how good of an intention I have, right? The truth is not everyone will actually like me. That's just the reality of this business, right? But at the very least, we have to give ourselves the best chance possible at building this like and trust, right? So now, again, thank you to Rebecca and all the people in the group chat for writing the form. Form just stands for family, occupation, recreation, and money. And so in other words, you can ask questions that are related to these categories, all right? And I'm going to tell you the questions that I love to ask the most because, again, maybe it's a funny training where you're thinking, wow, this is such a simple training. Isn't it common sense? But in my experience, maybe it's not that common sense for a lot of people. And maybe this will help you like it helped me, right? So whenever I meet someone, for example, in these scenarios where I don't have much time, I'll have to ask them, hey, how's it going? How's your day today? Simple question, right? And they might say, great, my day is going well, great, going pretty well. I might ask, well, has it been pretty busy for you here? How are things since, the lockdown is ending? Are you having more and more customers come out now, right? So those are like the opening questions. The question that I really like to ask that kind of gets the conversation going somewhere is the following question about work, right? I ask, so by the way, how long have you been working here for? And they might say 2 months, 2 years, 20 years. And then the follow-up question to that is where it really gets interesting is I ask them, you must love what you're doing, right? Oh, you must love what you're doing. And I can't tell you how many times that one question gets so much conversation happening afterwards because you know how people like to talk about things that are bothering them, right? Can you guys admit that people like to talk about things that is on their mind, that's bugging them, right? And yes, Joy Richard, you love that app. You said that absolutely correct. It's their pain points, right? People don't want to talk about sometimes how great the weather is if there's something bothering them, right? But we ask those questions just to seem polite and to be polite. So once I asked them that question, also, how long, have you been doing that for? And, oh, you must love what you're doing. Oftentimes they might say stuff like, yeah, it's not too bad. Or, yeah, I really love what I do. It doesn't matter what they say, but you just kind of repeat after them. This is another very interesting technique that I learned that I use very often till today, is that they say, oh, well, no, not really. Or it's okay. Just repeat after them. Oh, it's just okay? Or, oh, not really? Oh, you love what you do? And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to, it's called an open-ended question, right? We're kind of asking a question to let them expand upon what they mean. And so many times, people will start telling a lot of their sort of pain points. Like, no, I don't really like what I do here. It's all right, or it's so right. And the one thing that I do, of course, is I'm watching how much time I have with this person, right? And again, to take one step back here, I think our mindset when we go out to talk to people is so important. In my mind, I'm not thinking, okay, I want to sell this person some products. I'm not thinking that. In my mind, I'm not even thinking, okay, I want this person to join the business so I can make some wholesale profit. Or I want to sell them a toothpaste. That's not my mindset. In fact, actually, till this very day, every morning when I wake up, there's three things that I always do upon my brain turning on, essentially, is one, I thank God for being alive. I tell myself that today's going to become a great day and the best day ever. And the third thing I do is I ask myself, who can I help today? Who can I help today? And I found that having that mindset when you wake up in the morning, I know some people do like a list, a bunch more things, they might tidy their bed and, I'm not the best at that. But in my mind, I'm asking myself, okay, who can I help today? So now when I go out there for the whole entire day, because I started my morning with that positive confirmation, I'm not making it about me because it never was about me. And it can never be about you. It has to be about the other person, right? So knowing that, and also knowing that when I meet these people that are working at a coffee shop or at a shopping mall, like let me ask you a question one-on-one, right? Do you really think they really want to do that job? Or they're just doing it because they're trying to pay the bills? Like let's just have some straight talk here, right? Would anyone work in these places if they had a lot of money? Right? So let me get all your answers here, right? Because I think it's important to recognize this in our minds before we go out there and talk to people. Do you think people at these coffee shops, fast food places, shopping malls, all these, even a good job, do you think they want to do that job if they had a lot of money? Or they're just trying to have a good life or even just try to get by, right? So I want you to realize that we truly have an opportunity for people. And we don't know if these people will want the opportunity or not want the opportunity. But how will we find out who wants it and who doesn't want it? How can we find out, guys? Tell me, how can we find out who wants this opportunity and who doesn't? How can we find out? By staying at home and doing nothing? We have to ask. We have to ask. Ask if they're open, asking questions. And so combining the following factors. One, I know I won't see this person again, right? Number two, I'm trying to help someone else by offering them opportunity. Then that being the prerequisites and the default, then then I should ask this person. If I want to help someone, I should offer them this amazing opportunity, right? Not just from their own health, but for them to make extra money. Because everyone needs to be on these products, right? We all agree upon that, right? We don't want to not take good products and then one day and then have more diseases, right? We want to stay as healthy as possible. That's in agreement, right? So again, in your mind, we should all be understanding that people should want these products, but again, how do we find out, right? But we know that by offering this opportunity, there's nothing for them to lose. At the worst case scenario, they have amazing health. Can we all write that down together? The worst case scenario for these people is they will have what? Amazing health, amazing teeth, amazing hair, amazing skin, right? That's the absolute worst case. We just agree that's the absolute worst case scenario if we offer them this opportunity. Worst case scenario is they will have amazing health. And that's all of us here. But a lot of us, that's not just the worst case scenario. We actually make money as well too, right? So, because I believe I can tell you all the lines to say, but if in your mind, there's something missing there where you don't really believe in the core of your mind, in your heart, that these people would be grateful for you showing them this, or that majority of the people would be grateful, because some people won't be grateful, but hey, we're not here to judge people. We're just here to offer them the opportunity. So after asking all these questions, I would just ask the person, oh, by the way, you mentioned how you've been here for a few years. I'm not sure if you mentioned that you didn't like what you do, or you mentioned that you love what you do. Either which way, I want to ask you if you would be open for other opportunities, right? Just ask that question. Can we all do that? Can we all just meet someone? And whether it's 10 seconds or 30 seconds, knowing we probably will never see them again, right? And so, I want you to also realize that I do this everywhere I go. If I go buy groceries, and Heidi's like picking, we always go buy groceries together. That's the beauty of, I guess, having this full-time business. While she's picking the fruit or whatever, I might find someone who's standing there, like the employee, and start chit-chatting with them, right? Actually, Emoji is notorious for this. Every single time we hop in a taxi, I think she probably has like 80% of them buying products from her in the taxi. So the taxi driver, after hearing from her, is buying like products from Emoji. And I think it was so amazing to the point where I actually recorded her and me doing it live. I gotta go find that video. But literally, when I go to them, like if you're a guy on the call and you go to those malls, or if you're a girl, of course, how malls always have that sitting area where now you can sit, and usually it's mostly guys who are sitting there just trying to kill time. I go there too, because I'm like, okay, well, these people have time on their hands. Maybe I should just go, what's the harm of building like and trust? Maybe I can help one of them there, right? So anyways, I always ask that question, after the, how are you? How's your day? How long have you been working here for? Do you love what you do? Blah, 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 blah. I then asked them, by the way, are you open for other opportunities? And what do you think that person will say? What do you think that person will say when you ask them, are you open for other opportunities? Now, in most cases, I say, well, I hear yes. Well, yes. Why do they say yes? Because you took the time to build like and trust. Trust me, if you didn't take that time to build like and trust, and you just imagine this, right? I go into the store, Heidi's buying something, I see the customer service. Hi, how's it going? How's your day? Oh, by the way, are you open for other opportunities? Of course they're gonna say no, because they feel like you're onto something, right? It's just so unnatural. It was just too direct and too sudden, right? But because we took the time to ask just a few basic questions, most of the time they'll say yes. Now let me ask you this: if they say no, I'm not interested, are we going to have a breakdown and start crying and feel like the world is coming to an end and that it's the worst thing in their life that happened to me? No. In my mind, when someone says no, I respect it. And it's funny, I actually feel bad for the person. I actually feel sorry for them because they're just closed-minded. And because guess what? I've been there before. There's times where I have been closed-minded, so I know. And I wish I would have been more open-minded at an earlier age. Do we all agree? Right? So one, don't take it personal whenever someone rejects you. And I don't even call it reject. They're not rejecting you. What are they rejecting, guys? What are they? They're not rejecting you. What are they rejecting? They are rejecting your proposal, right? They're rejecting your proposal because they don't even know what it is, right? Yes, in the end, it's their health, but they don't know that as of now, right? They don't know the opportunity. They're just rejecting your proposal. They're rejecting the information you could provide to them, right? And I gotta tell you guys, if you meet any of the top people in this company, like the Verlins and the Ifras and the Steph and the Henrys and the Alan Ogdens and all these people who are, and the Maria Baptistes, and like so many people in this company, I can't name everyone. They are relentless at sharing. Like they're not even thinking, they're just thinking, like they have the same mindset that I have, right? They're not, they feel sorry for people when they reject the opportunity. But in the event that in most cases they say, "Oh yeah, I am open. What do you have to offer?" Okay, let's keep going here. Should we keep on going with this? What happens next part, or should we stop here? Should we stop here, or okay, you know what to do, or should we keep on going, right? So what do you do? Yeah, okay, I'll continue for sure. I was just kind of confusing you guys. So what should you do when someone says, well, yes, I would. So what do you have in mind? What do you have in mind? Right? So yeah, we can do some role play for sure. So now, okay, do you think at this point in time we should say, okay, well, the opportunity I have for you, you guys spend $2,000. I'm going to give you a website, and you go and sell products for me online. Okay, if it's like, oh God, no, okay, please don't do that, right? So again, this is my way of doing it. Now, is my way the only way? Of course not. And I want all the leaders here and all the people that have done this to put your responses in the group chat of how you would handle when they tell you, yes, I'd be open for other opportunities. What do you have in mind? I would love to hear everyone else's take on it, right? But for me, I always believed that any good opportunity, which is like to make money, there always has to be a solid product, right? You have to have a good product to have a good opportunity. You can't have a bad product per se to have an amazing opportunity. So what I'm trying to say is I always try to lead with the product. Does that make sense, guys? I'm trying to lead with the product. Okay, so that makes sense. Please say it makes sense, right? And so now I'm trying to divert the conversation back to the products. And it always helps if you have stuff like this with you, the Safe Home Revolution. But what I do though is I answer that question by telling a story. Can we write that down, guys? Okay. I answer that question by telling a story. And this works every time. Every time. And why do I answer the question with a story? Because let me ask you guys, do people like hearing stories? Do people like hearing stories? Of course they do, right? Trust me, I had to learn this the hard way. And today I had a great call with Bernicia talking about this. You can tell all the data and facts and stats, but what someone's going to remember is the stories, right? So all I tell people is, well, basically my company, and I want you guys to say my company. Don't say, well, the company that I joined. Please don't use these trigger words called join, signed up with, paid into, invested into. Can we say my company, guys? Everyone's like, eh. Okay, yeah. Yeah, because it is your company, right? This is you're self-employed. You are sole proprietorship. It's your company, right? Okay. So I say, well, my company actually met an amazing scientist in Finland. And to make a long story short, the scientist had this tree that was blocking light into the kitchen. And the wife asked the scientist to cut the tree down. So what happened was that after the tree was cut down, all these broken branches from this Norwegian spruce tree kept on living, these broken branches. And the scientists wondered, like, how can this broken branch from a tree keep on living, right? Because most branches of a tree would die off, right, once it's detached from the tree. And so after many years of researching, they found out something really remarkable inside this tree. And we partnered up with the scientists to bring this amazing product all across the world. Now, is that a lot more better sounding than me telling someone, well, we have this thing called lignin. It's the world's most powerful plant antioxidant, and it has 7 different kinds of lignins. The main one is 7-hydroxymethylmericinol. It has a carrier called trimethylene glycol, right? Like, that's pure data stuff, and they will never remember, right? Like even a sentence from that, right? But they will remember, of course, the stories, right? And usually at this point in time is I would tell them, I try to ask more questions, right? So, do you, have anyone in your family that you know of or yourself that has different kinds of health problems? Is that kind of interesting? I explained this story of this amazing health product, and within 15 seconds of telling that story, I revert back to them. And I asked them, well, do you know anyone in your family or yourself that's dealing with different kinds of health problems? And they're like, well, they might say no, who knows? But in a lot of cases, they say yes. And and they'll start to explain what that problem is. Oh, my dad has diabetes, my mom has high cholesterol, my whatever. Like, people know everyone that has a health issue, right? And once they say, yes, I do. So here's the thing, right? Because I think the mistake some people make is once they get this sort of hint that the person would like more information, they suddenly have this desire to what's called verbal diarrhea. But we know already that we don't have much time, right? So we started this whole training segment knowing that this person doesn't have much time with us. So logically, how can we try to talk? And sometimes we talk or say ourselves to the point where the person loses interest. Yeah, you're vomiting all over them. So the minute I ask someone, oh, so, would you happen to know anyone, yourself or your family, that has different kinds of health problems or health concerns? And they say yes, and they tell me what it is. Immediately, all I want to do at that point in time is I want to try to end the conversation. Because one, I know they're busy, right? And two, I know the saying, less is more. You talking less in a setting where you don't have much time, you're better off saving more juicy information for when you can meet them one-on-one or schedule a Zoom meeting together or do a call together. Does that make sense? Because I think a lot of people, and if you've done this before, say where you got their attention and you kept on going. And right, we think back now, they didn't really have much time, but I kept going. And maybe their interest was up here. And by talking, so people are like, one time it's like, yeah, oh, he talked to like 1 trillion people already, or she, yeah. So, yeah, a lot of times we overtalk. So all I want to do at this point in time, when I have got the confirmation that they know someone that has problems, I say, look, so I say, no, so and so, I know you don't have much time because you're at work and you probably have other customers, but I would love to get a chance to get together with you and share more information. Why don't I send you a text message on WhatsApp and try to schedule something together, either online or in person? That's all I do. So my goal now, after doing what I just told you, is I say to them again. So, whatever the name is, so and so. I know you're probably really busy right now and you have other customers to get to, but I would love to get a chance to, get together and share some more information with you. And so, why don't I send you a message on WhatsApp if you use it, and we can maybe, I can share more information with you either online or we can go for a coffee together. And that's it. Now, does everyone always say yes and give me their contact? I actually, quite a lot, if you do the right steps, right? If you do the right steps. But in the beginning, hey, I got rejected. But again, guys, what in my mindset, when someone says no to the opportunity, I feel bad for them because I know like what they have right now for a life is, a clothing store salary, which is not a lot. I know they're not really living life to the fullest because I know what it's like to live up life now, right? 'Cause I've been here for 14 years. But I feel sorry for people. And I love what Raymond said. Thank you, Raymond, for tuning in. Yeah. To me, no does not mean no forever. It just means no, not right now. Because guess what? Maybe in the future, I go back to that store and I see the same person again. And guess what's going to happen, guys? What do you think I'll do the second time around? Let's see the answers. What do you think I will do the second time around if I see the same person again? What's your answer, guys? Do exactly the same thing all over again. Ask the question again. Offer them the opportunity. And guess what? They might say no again. Yeah, hey, I'm back. All right, like, Jackie's back. Yeah. They might say no again. And then I'll, I still feel, I still feel bad for them, right? Yeah, I love that question, right? Are you still, enjoying what you do here? Are you open for other opportunities, or are you now open to other opportunities? No? Okay, great. If I see them again in a few more months, a few years from now, what do you think I do? What do you think I do when I see them again after the second rejection? I ask this. Honestly, guys, this business is actually really simple. And here's why. Because you're doing the same things over and over again, like a million times. For example, in my old job as a programmer, not only do you have to do the same thing over and over again, but as a designer, you have to always craft new solutions. But at the same time, we also have to keep upgrading our knowledge. Like we're constantly have to learn like new programming technologies. And it gets tiring. Like I actually didn't want to stay in my job as a programmer because I didn't want to be like 50, 60 years old and still going to school and taking these classes to be up to date on the latest technologies. That's just my thing, right? I love this business because once you learn it once, you just do the same thing over and over and over, and you teach others to do the same thing over and over and over, and they teach other people to do the same thing over and over. Yeah. So, and so mind you, the only difference now between the only difference now between how do you sorry, I saw a question here I want to answer. How do you ask same it again second or third time? Oh, I just go through the same steps again. Build, like, and trust. Hey, how's it going? Oh, I remember I saw you here like 6 months ago or so. How is going with you? How's your day? Is it really busy today? How's work going? You must be really loving what you're doing. Oh, by the way, are you now open for other opportunities? Right? Candy, uh, Candy is funny. Have you got that raise yet? I don't know if that question. I want to ask it, but I think that question might sound kind of, condescending perhaps? I'm gonna ask that question, but I definitely would say, are you open for other opportunities right now? Yeah, I know you're just kidding, Candy, but maybe others didn't know you're kidding. I want to make sure they don't ask that question and cause some drama for themselves. So so between the first scenario that we started with, which was we don't have a lot of time, and comparing it to scenarios where you have more time, pretty much the only difference is just chit chatting more. If I'm at a barbecue or I'm, in line picking up my kids from school and I have a few minutes, or if I'm waiting for my kids to finish their tennis lessons and I'm in the Starbucks and someone is beside me sitting there, the only difference is I just ask more questions, right? Here's some other amazing questions I love to ask, by the way. Whereabouts are you from? I think we live in a country, or we live in a time nowadays where you have no idea where people are from. Like you have, and no, it's really interesting to find out where people came from. So the questions I love to ask, maybe you want to write this down too, is, oh, by the way, where are you from? What brought you here, by the way? What brought you here? Where are your parents from? What brought you here to this country, right? Where are your parents from, right? And yeah, I love what Raymond said, because you're right. You have to enjoy your business, right? And I think to enjoy your business, you really have to, again, go back to what I was saying earlier, which was have the right mindset when you go out there. Because the way you leave your house with that mindset, it will transcend into your aura and your persona when you're out there talking to people, right? So if you wake up with a mindset of, it's going to become a great day, the best day ever, and I'm going to live it up, and who can I help today? That's the proper way that I found to leave my house every morning, and not even leave my house before I do my first phone call, right? And so, in short, like Alan said, like 70% of the people in Vancouver came from somewhere else, right? And it's amazing how many conversations you can have. Now, the other thing we didn't even talk about today, but I'll just mention it, is that every question you ask is going to become a useful piece of information. Every question you ask can become a really useful form of information later on. If I ask them, why do you think I'm asking them, where are you from? Or where are your parents from? Why would I ask that question? Now, that question wouldn't matter to me if my business was only in Canada and I could only sell to people in Canada, right? So so again, why do you think I'm asking that question? Okay, if they tell me that they're from India and we just got our FDA done, or they tell me that they're in Thailand and we just are about to open our office in Thailand, or they tell me that they're from, it doesn't matter where they're from. So number one, that's one piece of information. The second thing is that why do you think most people leave their country to go to another country? Let's ask this question and think really carefully here. Why do people leave their countries to go to other countries? Yeah, opportunity, right? They didn't leave their country where they had family and friends to go to a new country. Well, maybe they hated their family and friends. I don't know, but I don't think that's really the case. Enough to leave the country, unless you're like hiding. But again, we're not talking about those kind of people. The main reason why is, you're right, guys, is they're looking for better opportunities, right? I mean, I love the audience we had at the boot camp this past Saturday. It was such a multicultural boot camp. It was amazing. Like all races, all religions, so many backgrounds of people. But guess what? That's proving the point I'm trying to make with you guys. Is we have to realize that people are actually looking for opportunities all the time. They just don't want to be felt like they're being sold on it. They don't want to have the feeling like you're trying to scam them. No one wants to be scammed. I don't want to be scammed. You don't want to be scammed. No one likes the feeling of being scammed. Yes, but people are looking for opportunities. And that's why if we do a proper job in asking questions and building like and trust, then by the time we go and offer people an opportunity, most likely they're going to want to learn more about it. I'm not thinking of them buying a product. I'm not thinking of them signing up. All I'm thinking is step by step. It's a process. It's a process. Build like and trust, offer opportunity. Build like and trust, offer opportunity. Build like and trust, right? Tell the story, offer opportunity, right? The same thing is in my mind all the time. And so I hope that today's training really helped a lot of you guys. I can't believe, wow, an hour flies by quickly. And I hope you guys like the training today. I hope it serves you so well, because it really helped me in so many ways to go from the amateur network marketer, young kid, oily hair, not well spoken, poorly dressed, always thinking about me, right? To now with the right mindset. And I hope it helps you guys. I do see a few questions here that I wanted to check really quickly. Is it going to be recorded? I think that was recorded. So thank you, Leah, for asking that question. Okay. Second question, how do I grow here and how does this work? Please, I am a newcomer. Yeah, so Heidi, thank you for that question. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name. Forgive me, I don't want to say your name incorrectly, but you know who you are because you asked that question. So the way that it works in whichever country that you're in or city that you're in is the same way it works in my country. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. What we just taught you applies, because as long as you will see people walking and sitting and around you, it's the exact same process as it is here. So maybe you can watch this training again, but that's pretty much what I do. From Hoden, they asked, how do you invite and gain their trust, the people you meet at the grocery? Yeah, so exactly what we talked about just now is I try to start a conversation with them, right? And ask them, how they're doing, how's their day going? And, sometimes people just don't want to talk to me. Now, if someone expresses to me this feeling like they don't want to talk to me, do you think I'm going to keep forcing the conversation? Right? If someone don't want to talk to you, you got to take a hint, right? you know, and move on to the next employee because, maybe they're having a bad day. Like if you're having a bad, I always try to put myself in someone else's shoes, right? If I'm having a bad day and someone's trying to, approach me, do I want to, force a conversation? No, because by doing that, it's going to push them further away from me, right? So next, right? Okay, so hopefully that answers your question there. And from Anthony, when do you give up on that person? Pretty much when they tell me they're gonna call the police on me, that's when I'll stop. Don't do that, please. I'm just kidding, right? Don't make someone call the police on you. No, I think we can all take a hint, pretty much, right? But mind you, even if someone is not interested in talking to me, I still leave them with the brochure. Does that make sense? I know they don't want to talk to me, and that's cool because I've been on those days where I don't want to talk to other people, right? But at the very least, I say, you know what? I hope I can leave this with you. It's really helped me and my son with his eczema, me with my hair, and you might find something useful out of it. Because Henry did an amazing job training this past Saturday on the topic of retailing. Because if you can hand out 100 FLL brochures or 100 Safe Home Revolution, and the cost is like $30 for printing, if you actually handed out 100 of these things, at the very least, you would sell like one bottle or one something and make back the cost of the brochure. Does that make sense, guys? Right? So don't leave home without your tools, right? The Safe Home Revolution. I love this booklet because it has everything, right? It's so nice. How can they throw it away, right? You know, they're actually going to go and actually probably read this stuff when they have a free time, right? Or even at the very least, you know, have something, a toothpaste brochure or the FWall brochure or something like that. So anyways, thank you. What did Ronan say? Yeah. Ronan says, Rene, tell them the truth. If they will call the police on you, you will do like and trust with the police. Yeah. Speaking of which, we actually had someone do that before, and it's amazing because the police pulled them over, and they ended up giving a brochure, and the police actually bought a bottle of Fountain of Life from that person, right? So, Ronan, you preach it. Thank you for that. And guys, I want to say thank you so much for spending the evening with me tonight. Steph, I know you're a soldier. I know you weren't feeling well, but you hung on and you stuck around with us. So thank you so much, Steph. And guys, have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Steph, back to you.
Wow, wow, wow. Let's give it up for Rene in the chat, sharing his simple process. It does not need to be complicated. And one thing that stood out for me was it's mastering a few skills, right? It's not learning how to do all these different things. It's a simple process, and repeating those types of conversations over and over again increases your confidence. It keeps it simple, and it gets results, because this is what Rene does day in, day out. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for all the love in the chat. You guys are amazing. And thank you for being here and spending the last hour here with us. I can tell that everyone got value from this conversation, Rene, and it's a very important process for us to be able to just share wherever we go and be open to having those conversations. So I'm going to challenge all of you to go and see if you can talk to someone the next time you're out shopping for something, and see what happens. You never know unless you try, and you always will get what you want when you ask. So I'm going to close with some announcements. Thank you, Rene, for your time. Look at everyone loving you in the chat.
Wow. Thank you for blowing up the chats, guys. Thank you. Love it. Wow. Thank you, guys.
So great. I'm just going to stop the recording, and then I will share some announcements before we close the call. Thank you so much, Rene. Powerful call today.
Thank you.